Hey guys, I'm Austin and welcome to ALTX. So today is a very special ALTX. We have an interview with my co-worker and friend, Phil. Phil has been in ALT for many years and is in a very unique situation. He has the opportunity to substitute for other teachers and also to help with training as well, which is something that I wanted to talk with him a little bit more but didn't have the time. Coincidentally, the day that I interviewed him, we had training as well, so we didn't have any time to really jump into it. But today, for the interview, I talked with Phil about some of the things that brought him to Japan, how life in Japan changed him, and I really wanted to get in with him about being an ALT and what it's like to be an ALT. Since he's in the unique position of being a mentor ALT, I wanted to get into his head a little bit about that. So we got to talk a little bit about what is a good ALT, how does one be a good ALT and be desirable for the boards of education. So I think this is going to be a really good ALTX for you. I hope you enjoy it. Please leave some comments in the description and be sure to visit Phil's vlog. Alright guys, so without any further ado, here we go. Hi Phil.
Hey.
How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. I'm a little tired.
Yeah, I'm a little tired. Did you go out and have a nice time in Sendai last night?
Yeah, I had some dinner with some friends.
Very nice, very nice. So, Phil, you are an ALT.
That's right. I work as an ALT.
And you're also a substitute as well?
Yeah, I do substitute teaching work, and I also visit schools and other kinds of things as well.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been in Japan?
Well, working in Japan, this will be my 6th year. So I've been living and working in Japan for 5 years, and this is my 6th. But I also studied abroad for 1 year, my 3rd year in college.
Okay. Where did you study abroad?
I studied abroad in the Kansai area, in Shiga Prefecture,
Okay.
in a town known as Hikone,
Hikone.
famous for Hikonyan and the Hikonejo Castle.
Okay.
Do you know
Interesting.
Hikonyan?
I do not. I'll have to look into that.
It won the Yurukyara Grand Prix a few years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, how interesting. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, famous mascot characters.
Very nice.
So cool.
So, what brought you to Japan? What was the motivation that brought you to work, study abroad and then work here?
Okay, well, I don't know, I feel like I've walked down the same path that a lot of people have walked down, and I started off with video games. And I played NES, playing Mario video games when I was 6, and I asked my parents, where did video games come from? And my parents said, oh, it's from Japan, and that was the first time I heard it. So I always loved video games, and I played games, and eventually got interested in anime and manga, and kind of went through like an otaku era of life.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, but that wasn't everything about Japan for me though. Eventually I started to eat Japanese food, and I started to study about Japanese in college and high school as well. I started doing projects about Japan, and during my 2nd year of college I took a Japanese class, and I really liked it. I loved how the language felt. It felt logical, it made sense, and it was great. So my 3rd year I studied abroad, and that pretty much sealed it. After spending a year in Japan, living, and just, Japan is Japan.
Yeah.
We're all kind of locked in after a certain point, and man, it's just so good. Yeah, so that's pretty much where it came from. The games, the nerd stuff, and then eventually studying the history and culture and all those things.
Very nice. So after you stayed abroad, you came the 2nd time, did you have a job originally with the company, or did you just come and wing it?
No. I had interviews. I was interviewing for a long time. I was a jet ronin for 2 years, if you want to call it that. And they didn't even give me an interview. And it kind of really broke my heart. Initially I was like, oh, I don't want to work for one of these dispatch companies. I'm so worried about this. But a friend of mine, who I still work with today, he mentioned it. He's like, well, I work for this place and it's pretty good, come on out. So I did an interview and I came over and I had a job.
Wow, very nice.
Yeah, I really lucked out.
That's interesting. It's interesting, some of the other ALTs have come over through relationships. Their wives dragged them over, or they were brought over just through staying abroad and just stayed here.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, the differences.
Yeah, well, I had to go home and I had to graduate. So I graduated back at home, and then I was, as I said, jet roning. I was just trying and trying and trying to no avail. But yeah, eventually I came back.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So before all of the experiences with Japan, had you ever been abroad before? Had you have experiences in other countries?
Well, in junior high school and high school, I studied a little French, which I have very little recollection of at this point. But we went to Canada one time. And well, I'm from Pennsylvania originally, so we were in, I think, Vancouver, or Quebec. I'm sorry, we were in Quebec, which is notoriously French kind of area. And I used a little bit of French there, and it was interesting, but it still felt a lot like America to me, so it wasn't really that foreign feeling. But other than Quebec, I've only ever been to Japan.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So when you first came to Japan, then you must have had a little bit of a culture shock. What really took you off guard when you first came to Japan?
So I studied abroad in Kansai, and the first thing that hit me, like a wall, was the heat.
Yeah.
Japan is so hot. It is so hot, and I felt like at that time, this is almost 7 or 8 years ago, I always said, Japan is like 1 or 2 months behind America in like weather-wise.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was just the end of summer, just starting to cool off, and I was like, ooh, finally, 'cause I don't like hot weather. Then I go and I fly to Japan. Next thing I know, bam! I hit with this humid wall of air. So yeah, the temperatures and the heat and humidity of this country is just outrageous sometimes.
Oh yeah.
I guess, but more probably the culture shock you're probably fishing for. I guess realizing that my Japanese wasn't as good as I thought it was.
That's a big one, yeah.
Yeah, like despite how much you study, it's. Oh man, I was like, wow, I'm an idiot. I have no idea what I'm saying. I could get to where I needed to go, but like right off the bat, I knew. I was like, whoa, I have a much longer way to go than I thought.
Did you have, was it difficult to get used to different dialects as well, the Hogan?
Well, yeah, because I was in Kansai, so everyone was speaking Kansai then. And obviously if you're studying a textbook, you're speaking textbook Japanese at that point. It was interesting, because a lot of the stuff you don't study just gets thrown at you, and they're like, why don't, stuff like that. And I don't know, it was kind of fun. I really liked it. It was neat to learn it, and I liked to pick up little pieces of Hyogen or Hogen here and there. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I think it's strange for a foreigner to speak like pure Kansai Ben only.
Yeah. It would be a little strange, although there are a few foreigners that have become famous for it, like Yamagata Ben.
Oh.
There's a guy named Ben who speaks only Yamagata Ben.
I see.
Hence the name Yamagata Ben.
Yeah. That's clever. That's clever.
Yeah. But yeah, it would be a little strange to hear.
I mean, in those situations, it's clever and funny, but I don't know. Most of the time, people are just like, oh. But I don't know. It really goes both ways. I don't know. I studied with somebody who was like so into Kansai Ben, and all the people around, and Kansai Ben has a really particular like twang to it.
Yeah.
And if you don't say it right, you just look silly. And I feel like, I don't know, he was in the silly camp and wasn't really representing foreigners very well at that time. But, it's interesting if people can it makes you feel closer to the community as well. And a lot of times there are communities that also seem to enjoy that. But, I don't know. I'm not Japanese, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's interesting. When you studied in Kansai, Japanese, you had a Japanese teacher. Was your Japanese teacher male or female?
Well, I had a number of senseis.
Okay.
My first year, my main sensei was a guy. But then we had like someone who specialized in writing kanji who would come for 1 hour of the day. And we focused on writing at that time. And then my next semester after that, my main teacher was female. So it went back and forth.
Okay.
In the States, I had one female teacher and one male teacher. But my first male teacher was actually, he was an American. So I learned Japanese from an American and then from all Japanese people after that.
Interesting. The only reason I ask is because I've gotten this many times. All my teachers have been female.
Oh.
And so I always get from Japanese people, you sound a little
Feminine?
like a feminine.
Well, I mean, I also think that has to do with the textbook. Some textbooks teach very, and I'm not saying polite language, generally seems to come off as a feminine language in Japan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can call someone feminine, but if they're just being polite, whatever. I mean, it's not like you're running around saying like, oh, kawaii da wa, or something like that. No one's saying that, right?
Yeah.
Only in joke, but but who knows? I mean, if masculine Japanese is like, if that's like masculine, I don't want to be masculine.
Yeah, I'll take feminine any day.
Exactly.
Well, so now your Japanese is very good.
I don't know about that.
I think it's better than mine, at least.
I don't know.
And you've been here for 6 years. So what has life as an ALT up to this point been like for you?
Well, ups and downs, I came here, stars in my eyes. I was like, I'm going to be a teacher, I'm going to be a sensei, it's going to be great. And then I had no idea what I was doing. I got some training, but regardless of how much training you get, you don't know what you're going to get into until you jump into class. And I really had no idea what I wanted to do in the class, and I didn't know how to work with teachers. So I had like a couple months of just trial and error, really trying to figure it out. But then I kind of got a little momentum, and that was the end of the first contract. And because of whatever business or something, they didn't get the same place, I had to move. So I went to another school, and that was good. I had experience, got a fresh start, had a little bit more confidence, and that was a good 2 years right there. And then after that, started doing a lot more subbing, a lot more teaching other teachers as well. And it's been doing that for a couple years. So that's kind of what's been going on. But towards the second year of my year in the junior high school I worked at, the second school I worked at, I got some intense, not depression, but just like really culture shock, or I started to become like kind of anti-Japanese.
Yeah, the homesickness hit. Yeah.
That was just about 2 or 3 years after living here.
Yeah.
I think I'm over it at this point, but you never really know. But yeah, that was really tough.
Yeah, that's always tough. I think everyone faces that at least one point while they're here.
Yeah, it's more than just the initial like, wow, there's a vending machine that serves hot drinks, or ooh, look at this, there's actual, schoolgirls around, it's not just an anime. It's the 2 or 3 years in, that like deep wave of culture shock, or that homesickness, like you said, that's the one that you don't even see coming, and it's really intense. It's just an intense kind of, weird thing. I don't know. You can't really describe it too much.
Do you think that's why a lot of ALTs end up leaving after a couple of years? I know after the contract ends, some people stay on like we did.
Yeah, right.
But then some of the ALTs who go on yearly contracts, they leave after 2 or 3 years. They just have enough. Do you think that may be a contributing factor?
Yeah, definitely. Because some people just come over for 1 year, they just want to have fun, they want to try something new in a different role. It's just study abroad version 2. And other people, they're like, oh, they love Japan and they want to stay for a couple years. and they like Japan, but then once like the realities of like this isn't like magical funland Japan, it's actually just a country and people are living and working here. That's what like shocked me initially. Is like, wow, it's just a place. It's just another country. It sounds silly, but you have these images in your head of what Japan is.
Oh yeah.
And then once you get here, like, oh, there's just people living, raising their children, and working, and whatever. So.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the layers come off as you live here, and you see everyone's just the same.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
I know what you mean. It's just the same as home. It's just everyone speaks Japanese and they don't have pizza.
Well, they do have pizza, not good pizza.
Well, yeah.
Well, that's subjective.
I try not to refer to the Japanese pizza by pizza. Still, it's good sometimes.
Yeah.
If you go to Costco, you can get some pizza.
If there was a Costco around.
That's true. I know you guys in Sendai have it a little rough.
Not yet. Next year.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Dude, get ready. Get ready for like
can't
a
wait.
breath of fresh air.
Yeah, but I gotta start training tomorrow. I'm gonna get all fat because of all the muffins and everything.
Every time I go to Costco, I get a minimum of 2 pizzas. It's like one for the ride home and one to just have at home in the fridge.
I can't wait.
Oh, dude, it's good.
It's good.
Worth it.
So let's see. So you've gone through all the different stages of, well, maybe not all the different stages of being in Japan.
Yeah.
You've gone through acceptance, denial, all that.
Yeah, right. I don't know what step I'm on technically, but
Step 2 out of 12, maybe, I don't know.
maybe living in Japan is it's a long ride if you plan on like really living here, or if you don't realize it and you end up living here.
Yeah. So in your time here, especially as an ALT, what are your best and worst memories?
I think one of my favorite memories and favorite parts about living in Japan as an ALT is gaining an international identity. Realizing that, I'm from America, but I didn't realize how much I was from America till I left America. And I find a lot of people from other countries as well feel the same thing. By coming to another country and meeting people from all these different countries, you drastically, I feel like, widen your horizons, and you widen, how your acceptance and understanding of how other people in the world think. And I really like that. The fact that I'm not just an American who sits at home watching Fox News or something and, is yelling at the TV. It's like, I don't even watch TV anymore. And I just, sit on the internet.
Yeah, you too.
Not much different internet. So are you. But it's okay. But that's why you get to hear interesting things on the internet. But I think that widening of my horizons is probably the best. Also, the food here. The food in Japan is really the best. How polite people are. I love the ease of living. The ease of living in this country is great. Everywhere you go is a tourist spot, so there's always something cool. And I guess, it's just beautiful. It's just a very beautiful country regardless where you go. But the worst times, I don't know. It comes and goes, that feeling of, I don't know, sometimes realizing that you are a foreigner, and you get some discrimination. It's not terrible, but every once in a while, the longer you live in Japan, the more you become aware of it. And the more you also accept it, but so that's kind of not fun, or I don't know, what else? I try not to be a person who focuses on negatives.
Yeah.
I guess the realization that I'm slowly becoming a salary man, that's pretty scary.
The slow slope down to salary man.
Yeah, and like, just by virtue of working in Japan, you want to work, and you want to work with everybody, and eventually you're like, oh, I'm putting in extra time. Oh, I'm putting in an extra hour. Oh, I'm putting in a lot of time. Oh, I barely go to this place I call home. It's weird how it kind of, and you make a lot of these choices yourself, because I want to do more help. Just like what you're doing right now with this ALTX and ALTS, you want to help people. So you're spending a lot of your personal time as well, essentially working.
Yeah.
It's a lot more fun, I think. But, well, actually, really
Never,
working.
yeah.
But it's a lot of fun, but it's still like, you get so goal-oriented in Japan. And that's a good and a bad thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can take the goal orientation and take it to a good or take it to the negatives as well.
Yeah.
I think you're right about that. Yeah. So, Phil, since you've been here so long and you're in more of a mentor, ALT than myself or some other ALTs who are just working straight and not subbing or helping to observe classes. I want to get your unique opinion on things like what would make an ALT, a person applying to be an ALT, more, how shall I say?
Desirable?
Yes, thank you. More desirable to companies or boards of education who are looking for ALTs. Okay, well, in general, people look for positive attitude. They look for Genki. They want someone who's smiling and has a nice energetic voice and all that. They want, I mean, not like a clown necessarily, but you need to have high energy. If you're going to be working with kids, even if they're in high school, even in like English conversation classes, you need that energy, and you have to show them that I'm a living person. I'm Genki. So they have to be Genki. Honestly, you need Japanese ability. If you don't speak Japanese, that doesn't mean you're not going to get the job, but not speaking Japanese at all is going to limit anything. It's going to limit every opportunity you have. Not to mention, it's going to make your life in Japan that much harder. And you're going to need people holding your hands, and you're going to be meiwaku in everywhere, whether you know it or not. So yeah, be Genki, speak a little Japanese, care about teaching, be responsible, be an adult, be able to cook and clean after yourself, be, considerate of others. I think, yeah, those are my 2 ones. Speak Japanese and be Genki.
Okay.
And Nantonaku. Nantonaku. You could make it work with a little practice.
All right. Very nice.
Well, and finally, Phil, since we've gone fairly long here, do you have any,
Okay, we got time.
Well, yeah. Since you've been here so long, everyone does side projects or has hobbies, like for me, violin, YouTube, and martial arts. How about you? Do you have any side projects, anything you do or you'd like to talk about for?
To the internet, I guess, I don't know, I don't have many side projects. I just play video games, I play computer games, I hang out. But a couple of years ago, I did a video weblog. If you want to go see the past and see me my first and second year literally stumbling through and talking about all those, intricate details, what's making me angry today, what's today's culture shock, or what do I love about Japan. It's called the Roher de Gozaru Video Blog. If you just type in ROOHAA into YouTube, it'll probably come up. But honestly, ancient news, I have no idea what it even says anymore, but it's on there. And there's also a couple other weird videos. I found just me slapping my friend when he was asleep one time, so those might be fun. But yeah, that's all I got cooking on the internet.
Alright. Well, it's great to have you. Thank you very much for the interview.
Domo?
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
That is. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
All right.